Crypto market just experienced massive sell-off. We understand that. In last 24 hours, we're watching to see if the price action can bounce back higher. So what is the probability shows us? Yes, we do have a couple of trend lines here. We are staying on top of that. Does it show we're going to bounce off from here, or do we still have some room to the downside? If you actually zoom out, take a close look at how things have evolved in the past, we cannot neglect the fact that yes, we had respected this trend line where the momentum was actually increasing the second run up. And then we bounced off, but the moving average rejected the price. We came lower to test the next level of trend line. But again, yes, back then it was based on the SEC lawsuit and all of those exchanges delisting XRP. What do you think is going to happen right here, right now, with all of the other drama happening in the crypto market? If you actually watch, this is actually insane, meaning you're watching the Bitcoin dominance falling off when Bitcoin price is dropping, when the crypto market is slowing down. What does that actually mean? Because we actually shared this thought process yesterday saying, what for this? I think we are going to go down. And where are we right now? It actually shows exactly the same thing. We dropped hard. And that means if you had taken some decisions, entering in some of the assets which you thought was interesting at those levels, you just made the right decision. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get learn how to become the next top 10% of this crypto world. Right now, when we look at a lot of these price action, we do have to understand some of these assets for one reason or the other is holding on to a macro range of support resistance zone. XLM is one of them. And because we had a lot of FUD in the market, like if you actually look at these, it is literally showing you 2 million followers and they are kind of focused more on the crypto side, right? But what you're watching is that they are suggesting you something wrong. It's the FUD, it's fake news. When you have this coming out from the SEC itself and that being reinforced by all of them saying this is not a fake document and it's a real document, where the SEC itself say they are not fighting to say that the asset itself is a security. That's not up for debate. But you still get a lot of these big mass media coming out pushing that FUD. 9.3 million followers. Say a lot of the actual XRP community or say the crypto market would be following these guys. And I'm also doing that. So live, that is what we should do. Why? If they have not even read the actual stuff and come out and say this to us, that is why the FUD, the panic, and everything happens. If you actually look at this, right now, yes, it's holding on to a trend line. That's good. But if you actually look at this, XLM is holding on to this particular range. That's a huge stuff. H bar is still holding on to the pattern itself. It had some volatility, but it's still holding on to that pattern, which is macro bullish. Great. But XRP just broke through this key range. Now we want to see a bounce off immediately and holding on above 0.55. We want to see that because if we don't, now we are looking for something negative on the short-term horizon. That being said, negative in the sense price can be volatile. See, if it were you and you saw the price at 0.42 and you know this is going to go back up, maybe a day, maybe a month, maybe a few months, you would have bought it. Right? At least I would have done that. But now the price is at 0.5. So even if you entered there at 0.42, 0.43, you would have made that profit now. Great. If you are a holder, you're saying, wow, that was a huge opportunity. So now this happened on a daily. If that happens on a monthly chart, where you see the price action showing you, I'm going down and then coming back up, that was a massive opportunity, right? historically we have seen something like that, where that was a massive opportunity. If you look back in history, now there is no way we can say like, okay, that was really hard, it was not the time to buy, because a lot of people did say it was not the time to buy. But if you look at that on a monthly chart, it shows you the monthly candle went up 70% and closed that weekday. After that, you did not really come back down. So that is something you have to keep in mind. Yes, it was volatile, definitely was volatile, but you never came back down to retest those levels. You went up. So volatility is going to be a part of this journey. As much as institutions enter here, that much volatility and manipulation will be a part of this, because they really don't want you and me to make a lot of profit, to sit on tight, relaxed. They're going to literally play with your emotions, the stress, pushing in all those cortisol so that you don't make the right decision. What happens? You take the wrong decision, your critical thinking ability goes down. So they want to play with that. That's one of the main reasons why you see mass media like this, or the crypto media like these, coming out and giving you FUD without checking about the reality. Because on the other side of the aisle, we are literally watching this happening, right? I mean, there is no argument in this. When you actually look at this and go inside, read through that, you understand the fact that it's the Bank of International Settlements, it's ISDA, it's MasterCard, all of them coming on to do something important. Cross-border payments. And you are watching the behemoths on this area of payments joining to do something big. That's important to understand, because they're not actually taking in all the other crypto projects. This one is standing on top of it. So when the actual news and narrative and fundamentals are increasing sky high, and you have some macro events coming up saying there is no more SWIFT for these nations when they are transacting in between them, they really don't need it. I agree. So that means a big day is coming. Things are evolving quickly on the macro side, and then interesting part then becomes like, okay, what do you see for the price action, right? That's an interesting view to have, because right now when you go take the price action, this is what we should be looking at. Now, have we reached the bottom yet? That's the painful part. We haven't done that yet. The weekly RSI on Bitcoin shows there is some more pain left. Either we may consolidate here, slow down, and then move up. If that doesn't happen, we may have another day like this and then move up. That is still a possibility. Now, keep in mind, when we say that, that's on a weekly. Why is that important? Because on a daily, you have a situation here, which, if you actually extend this all the way back, zooming out, just keeping a horizontal line with the range where we are now, it's one of the most oversold range for a long period of time, right? We had very few events before this where we went below this or came close to that. So if you actually take a look at where we broke that, it always shows like a bottom, or it was a moment of continuation. Now that was like, the crash of March 2020. And you also have to keep in mind, we also had some events at some point in time where now we are looking at this, right? We went to that direction, but that was a small sell-off. We went back up, retesting that range just to get rejected. So that can also be a possibility. But question is, where are we? Are we actually moving up for the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and being at a range where you are going to break through that? So the trend line does show like, okay, we broke that range. The only positive thing to take in from this is the range bound movement. You went up, you're consolidating here. We want to see this break back higher, not breaking back lower, because if it does, that will bring more panic into the market. Now, on the macro side of things, we do understand, yeah, this is positive. We came back to that range of support. It's looking bullish. If you take the chart on a monthly, you have to put the argument like, okay, even if it actually wicks lower towards 24, 23, it should be fine because we may actually see a bounce back. But for that to happen, I would argue that we need to see the monthly candle closing above this range of 27,000. Now, is that a big ask? I really don't think so because, price can literally move thousands of dollars in Bitcoin terms. If you look at that asset, yeah, it is possible that we may come back above the 27 and close there. It can be bullish, it can be positive. Why? Whenever you look at the MACD or the moving averages, say the moving average, when they are converging, it shows, yeah, it was showing like I'm about to cross to the downside. Panic. No, that made the bottom. Something similar is happening right now. So you zoom out all the way and you look at that and say, okay, if that's the truth, when the trend is to the downside, that's dangerous. When the trend is to the upside, it kind of marks the bottom. So where are we right now? Right? So the question becomes like, what is it going to be? Because we can actually put the argument saying, okay, that actually looks good on a macro. And if you actually take a macro perspective going on to a quarterly, you're like, okay, we're still moving up. There is no doubt in that. Meaning, if you actually take the idea like this is the trend where we are moving up, we are still in that range. Just to be clear, keep this in mind. This is what we are looking at, right? So you may come back down towards 20, 21, and you can still be inside this macro event. Keep this in mind. If there is a panic, if there is a sell-off, which continues from here for the month of August and September, we may come back down to 21, 22 and still stay inside this macro channel, which is massively bullish. So maybe next cycle, maybe the cycle after that, it shows a massive upside. This is just a consolidative area. Yes, we marked the wick to the upside, but keep in mind the range inside which we've been trading, it's somewhat like this. It hasn't done much. It's still inside this breakout range. And once you break through this range, that's where you see huge price movements to the upside. Last time, remember, when you actually saw a candle working out like this, you know what happened afterwards? Look at this. You had a candle which showed you that, yeah, I went to the upside, but the bulls came to push the price and they literally lost it against the sellers and they pushed the price back down. But the next one, when the bulls tried to push it, bears were like, this time I'm not going to win. Let me move out. That's exactly what happens. You go back up. So if that's the rally coming after this, I would put the argument like, we don't really want to mess a run up. Now, it's not actually that small of a run up when you actually consider the ROI perspective. You would put this number and say, okay, that's our all-time high. We are entering into the price discovery phase where all these hypers will come back again, giving you $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 per XRP kind of things for sure. But keep in mind, you always take well-educated decision based on what you can understand, not things which you cannot understand. Because if you can't understand or explain that to someone else in 2-3 minutes, it's going to be hard for you to convince yourself to stay invested in that asset. That's one of the primary reason why we are all in XRP. The amount of fundamentals, understanding that, and the future looks so bright. See, keep that in mind and then look at where we are going. So this is not a rocket science. We're actually talking about positive events coming in. But the question is, before that, are we going to see red month? Are we going to see red weeks ahead, right? We'll have to follow that. But understand, this is positive. Money is not moving into Bitcoin during a time of panic like this inside the crypto market. Instead, it's moving out of Bitcoin and moving into altcoin. So if you're an altcoin investor, this is a great news for us, which is huge. It's actually bullish. Now, I'd also like to thank all of you guys who've been, hitting that follow button here on Twitter. We just crossed 3,000. Now, for me, that's a big deal. It's not a really old account, but still that's a big number for me. And if you guys have been smashing that like button, I'm really thankful for that. And if you haven't considered doing that, I would say, come on, man, try that, do it. Now, again, the market is still there. We are watching, things are evolving. We do understand things like this come in the market. Now, this was before the actual sell-off came in for the ETH. I was putting in the idea like, watch where the money is going to go, because the RSI is becoming weak, money is exiting. And that literally became the panic. We dropped crazy, came almost close to this level of support. So for those who were surprised, we were watching it that and highlighting the fact that watch for this. It's becoming a red flag, and it did become that red flag. The price dropped, and there you got the news, and the price started creeping back up. So watch for the price action, stay updated, and if you are looking for those kind of updates on real time to stay updated, where hundreds of individuals are taking benefits of that positioning in the market. And right now we are going through the entire market, scanning through each of them to see where each of them stands. If they are like this, it's okay, it's good, we understand the pattern, great. If they are below a massive support, now, yeah, it's bad days for that particular asset. So you need to understand where you are. Are you making a double bottom, macro trying to go back up, like what we had done at the top, the double top? So if you're putting in the double bottom and a breakout, that's going to be massive, right? Individually, we are going through that in the group. So if you like to watch that, I would say that's going to be helpful. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.